Zip ties are the lifeblood of the swim shop.
They should be the lifeblood of any shop.
They're too essential.
Alright, what we are doing now, we're getting the 401 ready to put on the break-in stand so we can break the cam in and run it, make sure everything's good. So we're getting ready to put the intake on it. We're rounding up bolts and stuff, making a list of the bolts we need. I've put some temporary bolts here in the front cover just to hold that on so it doesn't leak. This is where your power steering pump and alternator and all bolt to those, so we're not going to worry about bolting that up when we put it on the engine stand. But that's what we're doing, just getting everything ready to put it on there so we can run it and break it in. A lot of it will come back off. Got to find the hit hoses and getting the manifolds put on. Go get new plugs. Oil filter. We do have to get new gauges for the break-in stand. Our gauges, a temp gauge and oil gauge are bad on the engine stand, so we're going to put new gauges on it because we want to make sure everything is reading right when we break it in and we don't do any damage to it. So that's what we're doing over here. Ivan's still working on the wiring harness on the honcho, and we really want to, today's Monday, we hope we can have it on the stand maybe this afternoon and run it tomorrow, because I'm real eager to get it broke in and here, make sure it runs, make sure we don't have any issues with it. So that's what we're doing. All right, we're getting ready to put the intake on the motor, and this is one of the things I really don't like about AMCs. They use this valley pan gasket like this, and it's just aggravating to put it on. What you have to do is, they say to put sealer around each of the water ports, but I've always put it around the water ports and every intake port on both sides, just to make sure it seals up, and I've never had any problems with it. So we're going to do the same thing here. And on the end, it'll come with these to go on the end of your intake right here when you put it in there. And when you get them and get them out of the box, throw them out like that. And put a good bead of red RTB on each side, because it'll blow those gaskets out and it'll start leaking oil. This right here won't blow it out. So Seth is going to hold this thing while I put silicone around all the ports, and then we'll pop it down and put the intake on.
I thought you were going all the way.
I couldn't see it.
Oh. And that's another thing that you always said was important, that little, where it meets right there.
Yeah, where it meets here, always put a little gob right there. You want to make sure it seals up. I know it ain't the prettiest looking thing, but it's better than it leaking. I promise you.
Let's see how you do on this side.
I didn't put a big enough hole in the...
Oh, he went all the way.
Right there. Yeah, it's not pretty.
Yeah, but like you said, I'd rather it look like that than it be leaking. She's getting there, one piece at a time.
Yes, I am. I've been cleaning this fuel line up
Okay.
because it's hard to get the exact bends of what the factory one was. So this thing was all, anybody that's ever fooled with brake lines and fuel lines, you know that rust will get in there and get all gummed up. And if you ain't careful, you'll twist the line. But if you just take your time and keep working and spraying some like PB Blaster in there, you can work it and get it freed up. So, and we're sticking the. I think we're gonna be able to break it in tomorrow. This is the old fuel pump, so don't knock us for putting that on there. The reason we're doing it is because the new fuel pump won't be in until tomorrow afternoon.
Right.
And I think we're going to be able to get it running before then. And we know this is a good pump, even though it doesn't look pretty. It will work and do the trick to break the engine in.
Let's see. Yeah, we got the manifolds on there. Those bolted up good. If you saw the time-lapse video, we've got bolts that were just a touch too long, and we were worried that the grade 8 bolts we had weren't long enough, but they wound up being long enough, so swap them out on that side. This side went in smooth. Intake went on.
Yeah,
very well.
I found a belt because we won't be putting the alternator or the power steering or anything on there, so we needed to make sure we turned the water pump. So
gotcha.
We just got a belt directly to the crank pulley. And what we'll do, we got a big fan over there. We're not gonna have a fan on the motor, but we got a big fan that'll be blowing through the radiator to keep it cool. So
gotcha.
That's why this is like that, if you're wondering. Just for break-in purposes.
That's it. But eventually, we're going to be tackling getting that 401 off, getting the starter, getting the solenoid, all that done. And what did we say about the radiator? We're going to swap that radiator out, or we're going to try to make that radiator work?
I think we'll just find some hoses long enough that we'll just connect them and just make that radiator
It
work.
might be two miles of hose looping around. But
yeah, I would rather have that big radiator with that amount of cooling capacity than
right.
Get a smaller one just so we can fit the hoses. I think we can maybe get flex hoses or piece hoses together enough to make it run.
Cool, but we're not too worried about that. It won't take but just a second to get that set up, so that'll be probably one of the last things we do. Speaking of the honcho, dang, buddy. You all right?
I'm just waiting because I knew you was coming over here. I'm like, I got to stop what I'm doing and tell them what I'm doing because I'll forget. No, I just now got it.
You just now got it?
Yeah. All right. I'm just holding this right here because this is where it's got to be. And
is it fair to say?
I got the tail lights up. I got everything in the dash besides the instrument cluster. And I'm doing... Instrument cluster.
Oh, I thought you said instrument.
The instrument cluster.
Yeah.
And the headlights, marker lights, all that I'm doing right now. So just say a prayer.
Yeah, man. You every time I look over here, you're on the ground. You're in like a weird, like contorted position, up under the dash.
Yeah, but yeah, most of the day's been. I finished up a little bit up under the dash, but gotcha. Most of the day's been right here.
Figuring out where. Woo! Yeah, because it's not just like
it's
hooking up the starter and then a couple lights. It's the entire harness of everything.
Just the doing part is the hard part, and not. I understand it. It's just when it comes to doing, you're just like, ooh, you know.
Yeah.
Because there's so many. It's simple, but it's not simple to do. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Anyways,
we got time
yeah,
consuming.
gosh, almighty, it's time consuming.
Speaking of other wiring harnesses, this is the whole wiring harness for that. So by the time we get that wrapped up, or Ivan gets that wrapped up, we'll be jumping on another harness.
Yeah,
we're just pretending that one's not here right now.
I'll be fresh. I'll be jumping all over that, running like a rat.
Yeah.
Give me that. Click.
That'll be a little more easier to get around in, at least. You won't be sitting crouched up behind a cab.
That'll be for sure.
So that's one good thing about it.
So we're slowly going, slowly but surely.
Yeah. I don't know who Shirley is.
Same thing. I was like, somebody's going to say it or comment.
And don't ever call me Shirley. Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye. Leave me alone. I've got to concentrate.
All right.
Not you, Ben. Bye, Ben.
Bye, then. Well, show us how the build's been going.
Yeah, this is
behind the scenes.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. The last 2 weeks down here, I'm just going to go on and say it. We've been making the videos look so great and beautiful for y'all. But it's been pure hell. Everything we have everything has just taken twice as long. It's just like we do something and it's got to be redone. So I just told you about this fuel pump. We know it was working. It was on a running motor. While I was tightening the line up, watch what happened to it. Lovely. It's not supposed to twist like that. So
I guess we're gonna wait.
All last 2 weeks off with this one and on with another one. So I guess we'll be waiting for the new pump to come in, unless I can look around here and find another one that we've got laying around. So.
Well, I didn't film how it came off, but I guess we're gonna test fit it.
We got the van on the lift, so we have to use the lift to take the motor off and put it on the engine stand, because our engine horse back there, the legs, when we go try to put it on here, they're not wide enough to go around this, so we can't get it over top of it. So we need to be directly over top to drop it down. And being that we've got the van on the lift, we can't use the lift arm like we normally do, and we can't take the van off because the front end's not on it, so we're going to use the rear axle.
We're just going to use the van.
Which we've done many times before.
You need help knocking this off?
Big deal. We would do it. We just got to be patient and take our time.
That's it.
If y'all would like to witness this redneck process, it's a lot easier. A lot easier and less trying when you got an old dirty motor and not one that's perfectly clean that you're trying to keep nice and pretty.
Well, let's see what we can do. Well, let's get that out of the way before someone has a conniption because something can't roll on flat ground.
Yeah. And I will. And surely it's probably going to twist.
Right. Well,
As always.
I'll get you hooked up here. All right, let's come down. Come on. All right. There's that one. There's that one. All right, let's go. Come on. Come on. All right. Got it. Here.
Let me go up just a little bit more.
Okay. That's gonna do it right there. All right, it's not twisting.
leave it on up higher so we can. We gotta take. We still gotta put the flex plate on the back. We gotta put the.
All right.
This plate. We got it on Bill Strickland.
That looks better than the other block.
Well, yeah, but there was a miscalculation when we put the set it up for AMC. The radiator actually would sit right down in here, up on this side of this beam. Well, we were just using a block. We wasn't taking into account for the water pump, the pulleys, and everything being on there. So it's hitting the radiator. So we're gonna have to figure out a way to get the radiator slid down in there. We're just gonna have to mount it
A little.
leaning like this, which it doesn't matter because we don't have a fan. We just need it to circulate the water, and we'll have a fan blowing this way on it to keep it cool. So
Gotcha.
no big deal. Just a slight miscalculation.
A few zip ties, some bungee cords, and duct tape.
Yeah,
Back in business.
we've got to figure out like,
No.
honestly, now that we had to take the radiator out, we may just get an AMC radiator since the spouts are on the right side rather than having to make these. See, on the AMC, the top spout is up here and the bottom one's down here. The Chevrolet, they're swapped.
Right.
Because
Top
it
spout
goes
pointing this way.
That's not a big deal.
Well, maybe there's a parts truck or something that has something we can use.
We got some AMC radiators out there, I'm sure.
10-4.
Is that the one that come out of that truck?
And you said we need to replace.
Yeah, we got new gauges. These two gauges are bad. We got 2 ordered. They'll be here tomorrow.
And the fuel pump, that'll be here tomorrow. Put on a new fuel pump.
So,
Start the Chevy starter's off. Do we have an AMC starter somewhere?
we have an AMC starter, and then what we'll have to do is we'll have to run a piece of heater hose from here to here because these two normally go into the heater box.
So we just need to cycle that.
Of course, put the radiator hoses in it, and we'll put the distributor in it tomorrow, get it timed, put plug wires on it, wire up the stand, get some gasoline.
The break-in oil is already in there.
Break-in oil is in it. And we'll put a drill in here before we put the distributor in. We'll spin it over and get the oil pressure up and prime the pump. Make sure oil's pumped up to the rockers and everything. We'll run the oil pressure for a little while. And we'll throw the flame to it and fire it up. And what we'll have to do with that new cam, you want to try to get it as close to dialed in the first time you fire it up, because as soon as you fire it up, you need to tack it up to about 2,000, 2,500 RPMs, set it there, and let it run for about 15-20 minutes to break the cam in. And then we may play with some RPM ranges back and forth while it's breaking in. But that's crucial for the break-in on the cam.
Can't remember what kind of cam. Is it a stock cam or a little above stock?
It's I think it's just like a mid-range, high, like an RV type cam, towing cam. It's probably gonna have a little thump to it, but the thing about it is it probably won't have as much thump as it would in like a 304. I don't know what it is. It's something about a cam. It's the cubic inches. You can take a cam that don't really hit in a 401 or, you know, in a 400 small block, put it in a small cubic inch motor and it'll pound the
It'll chop up a little more.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about it either way. It's gonna be cool. You
I
think?
just hope that you did everything right.
Oh, I'm sure you did. I'm sure it's fine. But that paint looks good on there. That looks a whole lot better than it did when it left here, for sure. I don't even know. Oh well, we had that. If y'all go back and watch the first or second honcho video, you can see me and Ivan doing the teardown on it, and yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, I will say.
Good job.
Shout out to King Machine down in Burlington. They're the ones that do the machine work on this thing. And I've built a lot of motors over the years and sent them to a lot of machine shops, but I will have to say that block, that looked the best of any one I've ever seen come back from a machine shop. It was top notch.
Well, I can't wait to hear it.
All right, we are hoping to get the 401 cranked today. We're just getting everything hooked up that needs to be hooked up to run it. And just kind of some temporary stuff. Got the new gauges mounted. Ivan's finding the fittings to get the temperature sending unit. Seth just had to cut. We had to cut a like a bushing for this radiator because there's no radiator hose that fits this application, so we're just making it up. So got a piece there, just doing stuff like that. We got to get all the wiring wired up. I don't know that we'll video all of that for you, but when we get ready to crank it, we'll show everything. We'll get the oil pressure up with the drill. We'll show dropping the distributor in, getting it all timed, and firing it up for the first time, and hope it just fires.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, man. I'm ready to see it.
New gauges in.
All right, we are getting ready to see if the oil pressure's up before we go to lunch, because if we don't have oil pressure, there ain't really no need in going.
What's that
further.
gadget you got?
Well, I've got a tool to do this with, and like always, when it's time to find it, I can't find it. So
It's somewhere between there.
I just got frustrated. I just took, if you've got an old distributor, just take the gear off of it, and I had Ivan weld this bolt on there so we can put a drill on it, and we'll spin it over with that. So
Oh, a piece of paper.
this is, like I say, this is just to see if the oil pressure will. It just locks in with the oil pump there, so we locked in.
Okay.
Put a drill on it and see if it works.
All right.
Sorry, had to find the drill. And you'll well, pretty much the way today's been.
There it goes.
It's a little cockeyed. You should hear it too when it gets the oil. Well, our drill's not gonna work now.
Is the battery dead?
It shouldn't be.
Hang on, wait a minute. Just step away. I'll get you a new battery.
We may need to bend this thing because this sure is shaking. Every time it goes to hobble.
Oh, it's got that little safety thing in it.
What?
Yeah, it's got
thing.
a thing where it
Yeah,
starts
it's-
shaking or
oh
gets
my
violent, it stops. Hey, well, hey, look, it's working. 25. Can I get 50?
So it
You
is going up.
can get
All right.
50. Can you get 56?
We
Can
got
I
oil
get?
Even at that RPM, we got oil.
That means everything's good and taut, ain't it? Everything's good and taut.
What's that?
Oh, son.
Almost 55.
Let me get 55, 60 almost.
So that's good. We got oil pressure, so now
Golly.
we can move on to the next thing.
Well, it was still going there. Cool.
We'll have to modify that.
Yeah, well, it was on the fly because we
I
couldn't.
just did it in like literally 5 seconds. He said, I don't care if it's straight either. And I said, okay, no.
Yeah.
But I did try though, but I couldn't. By the time
like that.
I don't.
All right, that's the first. We on?
Yeah, we're on.
All right, that's the first piece of the puzzle. So now we can go ahead. All we got left to do is we got to wire it up. I haven't got the solenoid mounted. Seth found the radiator hose for us. We got a temporary heater hose to come across here to got it up out of the way, and that ain't gonna. So we can keep it off of the manifold there. But we'll put the temperature gauge in. I don't want to put the temperature gauge in there yet because I want to slowly fill the block up with water so we stand less of a chance of getting air in it, because when you first crank it up, you want to make sure this thing is, try to have it as dead on as possible when you first crank it up, because it's got to pretty much immediately we got to put it on about 2,500 RPMs and run it for a pretty good little while.
Yeah.
So
our radiator situation worked out.
yeah, I just hope this radiator will cool good.
Yeah. I imagine we'll just.
We got my buddy let us borrow a new Edelbrock carburetor to put on here to break it in, and that's good because we want to make sure that that's pretty well set.
Yeah, you don't want to be You don't want to be tuning while you're trying to break in.
Yeah.
Like you said, you want that thing.
Not if you don't have to. We got to get all this. It's lovely the way they put these plastic oil lines in with your kits too. That's nice.
But Bill Strickland is looking sharp, bud.
Yeah, I think old Bill would be proud.
Wherever you are.
Need to tie wrap these old lines.
I can tell. Zip ties are the lifeblood of the swim shop.
They should be the lifeblood of any shop.
They're too essential for anything. You gotta hold something up.
I don't know
It's
how
up
the
together.
world,
I mean, it's just.
I don't know how the world operated before.
Very carefully.
Right, maybe the battery don't have enough juice.
That's no problem, but at least everything
Yeah,
clicks
we're
over.
making contact. Yeah, that ain't enough.
Well, this one or the big one?
That one might do it.
Up and down and around and out.
Yeah, when we went to lunch to get lunch and then go by the parts store to get fuel line, get this. No parts stores in Reidsville have 3H fuel line in stock or clamps. Now, how in the hell do you run a parts store and not have something like that in stock?
I don't know.
So, we've had to go around and find pieces and parts of fuel line to piece together so we can get this thing run. So I gotta find one more piece of metal hose and another clamp to put that together. Yeah, that can be put in now. All right, are we ready?
I guess so. We're ready for something.
All right, we're gonna I think we're about ready to get it all started. So we're gonna get top dead center up, drop the distributor in, run the plug wires, and hopefully we'll have something. So I could just spin it over with the pull it crank, but I'm gonna do it this way, old fashioned. Put my finger over the hole. Should be it. So if we look down there, we should be close to top dead center. Right here. All right, we've just passed it. This is top dead center, so we're just past it. We could roll it back some. I don't know if I can do it by hand, but with the other plugs in it. But we probably need to be about 8 degrees before top dead center. So I'll try to drop it in there where that is. Let me get the ratchet and back it up some if I can get the get it on there.
It's a little bit more. Oh, maybe just if you can.
That is dead. Oh yeah.
All right.
Well, now you're a little on the tense
We'll
side.
start there because we're probably gonna have to. There ain't no way I'm gonna be able to drop it in there. All right. So we got it about where it needs to be timed. So drop the distributor down in there. And what you want to do is get your cap pointed at get your rotor pointed at number 1. And I know without all the belts and stuff, that vacuum advance is going to be about right at that area. So drop it in here. Dang, hit it pretty good, didn't it?
Uh-huh.
All right, now here's a problem. Your fuel line on AMC's hits there, so you gotta sometimes bend that. All right, so we're dropped down in. Are we all the way?
No.
Not all the way. All right, so what's probably happening
4 to 5.
is we need to turn the oil pump. And you don't have to do this, you could bump it over, but that's probably about it. Still not it?
No, it's supposed to come up
How
to
is
here and
that?
seal, ain't it?
Yeah, how is that
No.
point? What is
Like
it?
this.
At what? Okay. Let's try that. They may just bump it over. We may just have to bump it over to get it to drop. There it went. See, we're way off now. So that tells me that that's got to come back some. All right, what I'm gonna
Wait a minute. There you go. Oh.
see this. It keeps taking it on.
So we will not.
What is it? So I may not fight this much more. All right, what we're gonna do? We're pointed at number 1 there, so we're just gonna drop it down in there,
Better.
bump it over. All right, so now we'll come back around and get top dead center back up. Should be still pointing at number 1 or close to it. All right, so it was coming up about right there. So when we put the cap on, that will be number 1. Point it this way. So this will be number 1 for us right here. And if we're right, it'll fire first shot.
I'll hold it So you can go get some.
It's one thing about using HEIs on AMCs. You don't have a lot of room.
Right.
It's tight up here. Plug you. Plug your feet back up. Golly. Can't even run you. Alright, now put the lock down on it. On snug, we'll get the plug wires out and let's start running the plug wires. All right.
Okay.
It's getting ready to be do or die time. We're getting ready to find out if the work's paid off.
Yeah.
Alright, so
Do we hook up the battery right now and do all that yet?
Hold off right now.
Or do you just want to hear it pop one
Let's see
time?
if it'll pop, and then we'll yeah. We need to put the power to the distributor. All right. Somebody definitely watch the oil pressure.
Wow, I got a loud job.
All right. Here we go, people. Thumbs up.
Take a step back.
Oil.
Yeah, ready?
Ready.
All right. I thought I saw some water come up. Did I see water come up out of that?
Yeah, probably. That's why I brought the tools.
Yeah, go ahead and tighten it back up.
I wanted to.
All right, just gotta tighten that right there. But it did pop.
What do you know where if it bottom or top? No, you don't know.
I couldn't tell. I just thought I saw water shoot up. Oh yeah, it's coming out of that. Tighten that one. I think it's coming out.
All right, see.
And you know, leaks is gonna be fine. It's gonna happen, but you just hate for it to happen on a nice new shiny motor.
Yeah.
But it's gonna happen.
If this is one of our raggedy old small blocks, we're just trying to break in a can.
Well, let's try it again.
Pop it again, see what happens.
Did the oil pressure shoot up? I mean, I know it wasn't really.
Nah, you just didn't have time to do that.
All right, the fuel pump's pumping. It's still leaking over here. All right, we're gonna crank it up and get everything set real quick.
Really good.
had to kill it. We'll let it cool down and revamp.
Go ahead.
I think I figured out what happened. It's my stupidity. The radiator is sitting lower than the engine, so I think what's happening is there's not getting any water up at the top of the engine because the radiator's lower, so we need to get the radiator raised up. So we're going to do that real quick because once we got some heat in it, we need to get it running again. I think we'll be all right.
Maybe we can stuff some
Yeah, we're going to do that
blocks
real
of
quick.
wood or something under there.
So, all right, we'll be back.
We'll be back.
It'll stay.
Let's run one to keep it forward on this tank. You know what I mean?
Well, I tell you what, Seth. Sit it back in that tray, in that trough where you were talking about first.
Okay.
Because it's got this hose kinked up. I've got yours because I couldn't find mine. That might be enough to... It's wanting to kick out now. The strap's going to
Might stay.
keep it from kicking out. So. There. Here we need to. It's going.
They gonna work?
Yeah, we're higher than the.
We're higher than the this part is higher than the intake.
So
We're about the same.
all right, yeah, that's it.
Hey, boy. Hey, boy. Yeah.
You want to unplug the fan?
Done her to it.
That's pretty good. Now, what was your theory behind all that? Because I don't think we got none of that on film, on tape.
Well, and I don't know if it's going to do it, but I think what was happening, we were trying to, it was running a little hot, but the gas tank was blocking like 50% of the cooling capacity of the radiator, so there wasn't no air going through it. And when we had it with the Chevrolet, there was about that much space between the gas tank and the Chevrolet radiator, so it wasn't a problem. So we were right up against it, so I'm hoping that was the problem.
Direct
Blocking
airflow at it
Yeah.
might change a few things. Now,
Let's
tank's off to
see.
the side. And maybe that'll change it up. All right.
everything's showing 230. And right here where it's supposed to be reading that, it's only reading 184. And that's where the sending unit is. Huh. So I don't think our gauge is right. Well, I think we got it finally. We had a little issue with it trying to keep it getting it cool, but I think we had an air pocket in the engine. We finally got that out. Got the gas tank out from in front of the radiator. That was part of the problem. It was cooling, but it's we got the cam broke in. It's running good. It's good and responsive. It's got good oil pressure. So I'm pretty happy with it, the way it sounds, the way it runs. So the next thing we'll do is we'll get it off the engine stand. We'll probably keep it on the engine stand for a while until we get the well, not a while, until we get the truck wired up, ready to go in. And then once we do that, we'll get it over in the truck, get it running in there. I think we may need to probably get another radiator. That radiator may not be circulating as good as it should. That is the radiator that actually came out of the truck. So you know, we had a little issues. This is the first time we ran an AMC motor on this stand. We've run a bunch of Chevrolet motors on it, so we had to do some tweaking and getting everything to get the radiator and all the stuff to where it would work. But it's dialed in, the cam's broke in, it runs good, we're happy with it. Next step's going into the truck, and I think Seth's gonna start editing the video that y'all will see of us, probably pretty much everything, mostly putting it together. So that'll be it for this one. Like, share, and subscribe. Check out our buddies down at OK Recycling in Burlington for all your industrial stuff. If you got a bunch of stuff you need to sell, buy, check out their eBay store. Check out Mark at Renegade Tees, Renegade Graphics in West Jefferson. He's the one that prints all our t-shirts. I don't have one of his shirts on today, but check him out. Check out our link to our t-shirts and order you a t-shirt. And Matt at Mattco Metals. Check out his
YouTube.
That's
what
what
it's called.
YouTube channel. Mattco Mafia on YouTube. Pretty good stuff about metalwork if you're into that, and some fabricating and stuff. So thank y'all. We'll keep doing what we're doing. Y'all keep doing what you're doing.
So it's really not a parts store.
It's just a front. They're all a front.
It's a good place for a parts store.
Yeah, I mean, they got all the capabilities. They got
shells,
computers.
They can type in anything.
Computers is why everybody don't know what's going on.
They can type in anything on that computer and tell you where the part is in another county that you need.
That's great. Yeah. That's
or in another state, and they can order it from the plant.
Yeah.
We got it, but it just ain't here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's not good. You know.
Yeah.
Well, keep it here with you.
So that's why this is.
It's like keeping your gun like 100 yards away, buried in the safe or something.
Just in case.
I got one, buddy. I tell you what, you come up on me, man. I'll run out there and I'll dig that thing, and I'll get that thing out of the ground, and I'll run back. I might be a little winded.
Yeah, I'll get you. Absolutely.